All right, we have made it to the Grand Canyon Railroad Depot. It is just about 8:45 in the morning. Very beautiful day here. It's March 28th, I believe, and it's probably 48 degrees right now. Going to be a high of 70 today, at least in Grand Canyon Village. Tomorrow, I think we're going to be a little bit cooler, in the low 60s, just to give you a sense of what you can expect temperature-wise. And what we're going to do is take the train ride up to Grand Canyon Village. And normally, if you take the train back the same day, you have about 3 hours to look around. But we're going to be spending the night. We've got a hotel reservation in the village, and then come back on the train route the next day. So we're going to be exploring the overlooks and a little bit of the trails around Grand Canyon Village while we're there, and we'll take you along for the ride. So let's go do it. They're doing an Old West show over there right before the boarding starts.
I said I've got an idea. Well, you better go put it back before somebody finds it missing.
Here's the Desert View car. This is the car we're going to be boarding. Just a few minutes. All right, we boarded the train. We got seats right up in front. We're on the top of the car, so you can actually see out over the train. So, great views up here. No, we're not doing this the whole ride.
Yeah, I figured with this would be a boring 2 hours.
I had to try it once. All right, we have made it. Time to go find something to eat. This is the El Tovar Hotel, probably the most fancy hotel in the village. Well, this is going to be our very first view of the Grand Canyon. Wow. It's definitely grand. Not a bad view. This is the little store outside of the Bright Angel Lodge. Get a cold drink and a hot dog, or some ice cream as a dessert, some chips, that's about it. Nothing fancy. Lunch with a view. Some interesting facts about the Bright Angel Lodge, which is right there. And they've got a bunch of cool cabins sprinkled around over here that are pretty much fully booked all the time, well in advance. So, like, I looked probably 3 months before we planned the trip, and yep, no availability. Which is why we are going to be staying at the Maswik Lodge, which is back there somewhere, a little further off the trail. So very different experience from all the other places we've been, people-wise and view-wise. You look at this and think, wow, that's a pretty far, it's incredibly far down. And then you follow that out and realize that drops off significantly way out there. It's like this is just a fraction of that. Then you can see the El Tovar Lodge up there on the hill. That little witch's hat. All right, I think we're gonna try to find the blue shuttle that takes us off. No, the red shuttle. Sorry, the red shuttle takes us off to the west, and should be a lot of good overlook points there. According to our train car attendant, some of the best views, at least right here in the central part of the village, are down on the patio of this lookout studio. So, balcony is open. Let's go check that out. Oh, this is cool. Go check the balcony out, or the terrace.
Ready? Still out of breath.
Yep. There's the red bus.
The trail and the switchbacks, the historic village, Maswik Gardens.
All right, this is Maricopa Point. I think it's the second stop on the red shuttle. All right, so like I said, Maricopa Point, second stop on the red shuttle. As it turns out, they make every single stop. It's like 10 different stops on the way out to Hermit's Rest, which is the end of the line. But on the way back, they only make 3 stops. So you kind of got to pick and choose your locations. If you were thinking you were going to ride all the way out to Hermit's Rest and then hit all the vistas all the way back, you're only going to get 3 of them. So they kind of make you get off the bus if you want to see more than just the 3 stops coming back. I think the next stop is only about less than a half a mile walk. Try to do that rather than hopping back on the bus. All right, so while we're walking the paved path to the next scenic overlook, talk a little bit about the Grand Canyon train ride. So typically they only give you, it's about a 3-hour layover, so to speak. So you arrive at just before noon, and then you got to board the train basically at 3 o'clock. I think boarding is 3:15. Train leaves at 3:30. So you've really got 3 hours to explore the Grand Canyon Village. And they do not serve lunch on that train, which would be nice if they had sandwiches or something. They do have some snacks, but provided you haven't had an adequate fill of snacks, you're gonna have to get lunch when you get here, which means fighting the lunch crowd and hitting the restrooms. And you're down to maybe 2 hours and 15 minutes of exploration time. So that's one of the big reasons why I decided we should probably just do an overnight here rather than try to jump back on the same train same day. So pretty nice actually for the shorter overlooks like we're doing from Maricopa to the next one out toward the west, maybe even the next 2. These are pretty short walks. They're less than half a mile. And so you can walk them in a moderate pace at about the same time that you would spend if you just missed the last bus and now you have to wait 10 minutes for the next bus. So it's a nice way to get away from the crowds. Right there in the distance, that's Maricopa where we just were. And then we walked over here. This is Powell Point. For whatever reason, much less busy than Maricopa was. I think this is there's a mine down here or something. So this is Powell Point. And then Hopi Point is that one right over there with all the people out on the edge. Where we're going next. So Hopi Point actually has a slightly less defined set of vistas that are sort of not paved. And they've got a little paved one a little further down. But if you're walking here, you come to these first, which is kind of cool. All right, we are on the 0.7 mile hike from Hopi Point to Mojave Point, and then we're going to get back on the bus because after this one they get to be quite a bit longer than a mile. But you can't beat these views, and most of the people are not walking. 95% of the people are riding the shuttle rather than walking, even between these fairly close lookout points. So it's an easy way if you're willing to put the steps in to kind of beat the crowd. And then you've got your own fantastic lookouts like this that you can enjoy without 35 people around you. Definitely worth it. Yikes. Well, I'd say this section of the trail feels a lot more like hiking in Yosemite. Yeah, one thing I'm noticing here is, I mean, the drop off on this trail, unlike the other sort of defined viewpoints along here where they have railings up and everything to keep all the idiots from jumping or falling to their deaths. This is just, you're on your own. And yeah, it's a little alarming walking along some sections of this because without being paved, you know, there's rocks and divots and stuff in there, and you're literally only 3 feet from thousands of feet straight down. It's
A little bit of peril.
yeah, it's a little bit of peril.
A little bit of peril? No, doesn't help it.
Well said. I'm guessing this next point is way out on this ledge here that we've been walking along. So as I understand it, it's like 27 or 28 miles over to the north rim. So going straight across over there. So we're actually seeing almost 30 miles in the distance. Quite an experience.
Look at this.
So here's Exhibit A for a little bit of peril along the trail. So yeah, I can definitely recommend, if you get the chance, to take the rim trail from Hopi Point to Mojave Point, because there's not very many people on it and you really kind of feel like you have the place to yourself. So definitely one that I would do. If you're going to walk one of these, this would be the one that I would walk. And this is Mojave Point. And it is windy. Nice view of the Colorado from here. So another lesson learned, when you get on the shuttle, make sure you understand which direction that shuttle is going, whether they're going east back to the village or west out toward Hermit's Rest. This shuttle driver was nice enough to let us on, and then he closed the door. And as we were pulling out, he said, "We're heading east, by the way." It was a little too late at that point to jump ship. So we've backtracked to Powell Point unwittingly, and now we're going to wait for the next bus. And so if you take care to read the signs, it'll tell you whether this particular bus stop is a eastbound or westbound. All right, we made it to the last stop, called Hermit's Rest, where they actually have bathroom facilities and snacks, some kind of a refreshment center. But from here, all the buses actually go back to Grand Canyon Village. Oh, that's a trap. It's quite a fireplace. So we kind of walk to the end here along the edge. You can see there's actually 3 different destinations you could hike out here, ranging from 3 to almost 9 miles. None of which we are going to do, so we are right here. You could take that all the way down. That's not in the cards for us today. Take a look at the view. Probably about ready to jump on the bus, head back toward Grand Canyon Village and check into the hotel. I've literally been lugging around a bunch, probably an extra 25 pounds of stuff because we're spending the night here. And I'm hoping that these clouds clear out so I can get some long exposure night sky pictures. We'll see. All right, let's jump on the bus and get back to the village. We are having dinner here at the Maswik Lodge. They've got a place out there where you can order a variety of things, a little food court. We're eating at the Maswik Pizza Pub. See what kind of prices you're in for. Pretty standard fare. All right, so we had the white pizza. It was very good. And kind of a ruckus place. Definitely not a place where you're just gonna chill in a quiet atmosphere. A lot of noise, but excellent food. It is about 6:30 in the evening, and wow, what a difference in the crowds. You see from earlier today, dramatic density change. You definitely get a different look at the canyon here with the sun starting to set in the west. And this is all starting to brighten up over here, and you get some really interesting shadows. So this is cool too. Actually, I really like this. Here's an early evening view of the Hopi house. I mean, it really resembles a lot of the Indian ruins that we saw earlier in the week. That way, the stone construction and the beams coming through, the little windows. Very cool. And as you can see, they close at 6 p.m. and they have very short doors. Ow. See, like I was saying, very short doors. There's probably 15 ravens down there.
Got a murder all flying around in there.
Is it still a murder if it's ravens rather than crows? I mean, they're all corvids.
Let me Google.
All right, we'll find out. This is very, very nice. So Nakia fact-checked me on that. It's definitely not a murder of ravens. It's either an unkindness or a conspiracy of ravens.
Or flocks.
It said it right there in the internet, so it's got to be true.
That's right.
All right, now I'm using the dark mode on my DJI Action 5 Pro. I wonder if that looks any better. We just made it to the visitor center, 15 minutes or 14 minutes, probably 13 by now, before they close. There's nobody here. All right, so the gift shop here at the visitor center, pretty cool. Got that little historical timeline thing inside. Learn a little bit about the park. The sun is really starting to go down now, so it's getting dark. Spectacular. All right, it is day 2 in the Grand Canyon Village. We are headed to breakfast. It's gonna be a cooler day today. Only gonna have highs in about 63 Fahrenheit. I think as I've been keeping track, this is like March 28th. And let's see, yeah, mostly like partly cloudy, mostly cloudy. So yeah, light jacket day. We're gonna go see a few things that we haven't seen yet. All right, so it's about 8:30 in the morning. Crowds are down here along the village, probably still 90% of what they'll be in a couple of hours. We decided since we got a little bit of time this morning, we're gonna take a short segment of this Bright Angel Trail, which zigzags back and forth down all the way down to the bottom of the canyon. So obviously that's not something you're gonna do in one day to get down there and back up. And we certainly don't have time. This is also, by the way, the same trail that those mules you just saw used to take people down into the canyon. And I believe they go down there and they spend the night and then come back. But we're gonna go down a little ways. There's a really cool feature that we'll get to in a bit over there. It's a tunnel in the rock, so let's see if we make it to that. Need to track our time and maybe account for about twice as much time to get back up than it took to get wherever we turned around. Pretty short walk to get to this little tunnel. You can see a little bit of the trail down there. This is definitely kind of cool, even if you're not hiking all the way to the bottom, because you get away from the crowds a little bit. Although lots of people have this idea, but most people don't come down very far. Nice warning sign showing a guy vomiting in multiple languages. Hiking to the Colorado River and back in one day is not recommended due to long distance, extreme heat, 5,000 foot elevation change. And that guy is sunburnt and barfing. What a great combination. He's waiting for me to extend a hand with something snackish that he can take advantage of. He is a cute little guy. There's a little chipmunk right down there, if you can make him out.
Oh, yeah.
The squirrel has said, "Oh, did you change your mind? Because I'll happily lighten your load." Yeah, from this angle, if I zoom in a little bit, you see all the zigzags as this trail heads down.
Oh, the donkeys are coming.
Apparently the canyon mules are making their way down.
Thanks for giving us the trail.
Absolutely, we read the sign. It's kind of interesting. They use this little stopping point about a quarter mile down to ask the group if they're committed for the next 6 hours. So if they've decided in that quarter mile that they're freaked out and they would rather not do this for 6 more hours, this is their last opportunity to turn around. So Nakia just looked up how much it costs to do these mule rides, and apparently for just one night down in the canyon, it's $1,200 a person and $1,600 for 2 nights. So not cheap. So we're getting to that point where if you're not going to the bottom, you're kind of asking yourself, when do I turn around? I think we're just going to go a little bit further. It's a slightly different look to the west. It is just about 9 o'clock in the morning, and I will say that the sun has not yet crept over the eastern sort of rock wall there behind me up there. So even though it is a mostly cloudy day, I think even if it were a clear day, the sun would not be baking you, at least on this side of the switchbacks. So pretty doable for a nice little partial descent in the morning. All right, we have decided that after about, call it 40 minutes of downward ascent, we are going to go back the other way, a lot slower, because it is an uphill, obviously, the entire way. You see people coming down the switchback up there. Interesting little mushroom rock formation up there. And then, of course, all that boring stuff out there. So it is 10 after 9, and the sun is just now creeping over the top. But not a big deal, because it's cloudy today. Just something to keep in mind if you were going to come down here and you wanted to avoid the sun on a hot, clear day. You're going to want to get in and out before about 9 o'clock. Pretty cool little feature. And then over here, there's a little window. Not one to ever pass up a bookstore.
Now, I can just use a flashlight and they can kind of...
Check this out. That's a projector. Look at the camera that they had to lug around. What a view. Imagine living here. How's that for a life jacket? Strapped wood blocks. Or maybe it's cork. It's probably cork. Yeah, it's Cork Life Vest. Wow. It's about 10 minutes before 10. And I don't know if it's because it's the overcast weather, but this is the little plaza for the little snack shop here at the Bright Angel Lodge. And it is not busy. Not like it was yesterday when we came here at lunchtime, when it was insane. All right, now we can actually go inside the Hopi house. That is wild. Apparently you can go upstairs. Good morning. Well, the Hopi house is very cool. Definitely worth a look. Just amazing how they've sort of recreated like an authentic Hopi house structure. This ceiling and just everything about it. It's pretty impressive. A couple more hours before the morning train arrives. And of course, we'll be taking that train back to Williams, Arizona. You have to get back here about 3 o'clock. But as you can see, pretty dead around here. They do have a baggage storage room that they can lock your stuff in if you're coming up. And when you arrive and you have some baggage that you need to leave there while you go explore until you can check into the hotel. Because that's kind of a little bit of an inconvenience. The train arrives at noon, and you have to eat. Most of the hotels don't allow you to check in until about 4 o'clock. So there's a gap there that you need to be aware of. We just packed as light as we could get away with and just lugged our stuff around in backpacks. All right, after we checked out of Maswik Lodge, we jumped on the Village Route bus shuttle, which is the blue route. Took that out to the visitor center, where we hopped off and then hopped on an orange bus, which is out here on the east side of the Grand Canyon Village. And this is allowing us to jump off at Mather Point, which is where we are now. And then once we leave here, we're going to go check out the Geology Museum. So as you might imagine, being the closest shuttle stop lookout point from the main entrance visitor center, this place is busy. All right, we have opted to just go ahead and walk from Mather Point to the Geology Museum because it's only about 4/10 of a mile or about 8 or 10 minute walk. So definitely beats jumping back on the shuttle. And once you start walking north toward the Geology Museum, people thin out pretty quickly. So it's a nice peaceful trek. And of course, the views ain't bad either. Wow. That same point is visible from many of the vantage points over in the village. Looks much further away over there. This place is a zoo. Definitely would want to get here super early if you were interested in hanging out here and learning something. All right, that was a crazy experience. It was like an amusement park situation. There had to be 100 people in that pretty small building. Still, if you could get there early, I think it'd be pretty cool. Definitely, this is a very popular stop for people that are just getting to the park on their way to the village. And we must have hit it right at prime time. All right, we are making our way back to the train station for our 3:30 departure back to Williams, Arizona. So I think it's kind of a wrap on this Grand Canyon Village visit. Some parting thoughts I would share, just kind of reiterate these if I haven't driven these points home in the previous parts of the video. Definitely, if you're taking the train, if you really want to get a feel for the area, an overnight stay is probably required because you're only going to get really a couple hours of exploration time if you go back on the same train. Having said that, I would also say that if you come out here, you really only need about 24 hours to really get a feel for the area. So I think 2 hours, definitely not quite enough. 24 hours, plenty, unless you're going to do some extensive hiking. But if you just want to go to the overlooks, maybe do what we did and do partway down on that Bright Angel Trail and then come back up, and then see pretty much all the overlooks. You can do that with a single night stay here and really feel like you got a sense of what this place is all about. I think the other thing I would just reiterate again is that was redundant. Reiterate again. Brought to you by the Department of Redundancy Department. So I would say that, if you're going to take the train in or otherwise come into the park and you want to go see like Mather Point and the Geology Museum and stuff like that, that's definitely an early morning visit because once you get past 10 a.m., that place is crazy. So hopefully you found some of that information helpful. If you did, please consider giving me a thumbs up. Very much appreciate that. And I think that wraps it up for our Southwest vacation trip. Thanks for joining me. I hope to see you in the next one. Till then, have fun out there. So these are the mules that take you down to the park. Those are not mules. Those are wild elk roaming the village. They've discovered they like the company of the mules, apparently. I thought they were just more mules at first glance. But nope. We're just gonna let you do what you're gonna do. Don't mind us.
That's awesome. He knows to wait for the bus.
They're in no kind of hurry, are they? Here's the fun fact. They told us on the way over here that these trains actually run on recycled vegetable oil. That's pretty cool. And it's vegetable oil that mostly comes from their restaurant hotel operations.
Alrighty, perfect. So you're gonna have a seat up in the dome. So you're gonna walk up the stairs and you'll see your seat number on the window. And you'll see them on the window.
Thank you.
This is cool.
All right, home sweet home. Then we jumped on the orange bus to come out here to Mather Point, and then we're going to hit the Geology Museum and the view, whatever the point. Cut.